Today we are here with Angelou and James Ezilo, a married couple of 19 years who runs Greening Youth Foundation. How has the environmental movement contributed to the economic development?
Well, I think it all varies on depends on what group you're talking about. Traditionally, the environmental movement has been a pretty decent economic vehicle for middle and upper class individuals, groups, organizations. But when we talk about a particular demographic, younger people, people of color, it has not caught up to the economic development needs of that particular sector. So there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of room, between the prevailing groups and those that are trying to get into the environmental movement. But there's a lot of opportunities that can still be realized if one's out there looking for it.
In your area, are African Americans as concerned about sustainability as they should be?
Actually, we find that they really are. I mean, there's always room for more awareness, and that's something that we do focus on, which is education for people of color in particular. But the thing is, when we're talking about natural resource management, and that's really, we're talking land, air, water, we find that, and it's certainly, evidence that shows that people of color vote and they certainly respond accordingly to those issues because those are, if there's any sort of environmental impact there, it's felt the most in communities of color. So, especially with our youth, when we're educating them about the importance of being stewards of their environment and the importance of land, air, and water, once they're made aware of the significance of these different resources, they become advocates, and that's certainly something that they're passionate about. So we do think it's a matter of educating groups of people, and once they're educated, then they do get involved.
Do you have any corporate sponsors or partnerships? And is their support strictly financial?
Well, it's a great question because what we decided to do about 5 years ago was to kind of change how this conservation model really works and how it will work for us. So the traditional model is philanthropy. You basically go to large donors, small donors, and you say, we want to put on these projects, we want to help this particular group of young people or what have you, and then you ask for money, grants. What we've done is we've said, you know what, let's look at this from a fee-for-service business model. In other words, the grantor or the funder is going to they'll receive something in return, whether it's work, whether it's time, whether it's volunteer opportunities, corporate involvement. So it simply isn't a one-way street where it's give us funding and we'll put on these projects and then maybe we'll write a report for you later. It's a circle. So there's always a benefit for the funder on the other end. So we don't really rely, I would say maybe 90% of our work is fee for service. It's straight business model, and the other 10% is corporate giving and or private giving. So it's a different kind of model for conservation.
What are the challenges of running a nonprofit?
Ooh, how much time do we have? No, but I would say they're different sets of challenges. So, because as James just described, this is really a different model than most typical environmental type nonprofit organizations. So, on one hand, we are, yes, indeed, challenged because we are educating corporations about the model that we have, about what they can get out of this relationship, by them, stepping to the table and supporting some of these programs and initiatives. But then we have the land management agencies like, USDA Forest Service, National Park Service, Fish and Wildlife, and those are agencies that we partner with for our youth corps. They are aware of this model. However, a lot of education comes in again for the demographic that we work with. As stated earlier, we're really focused on engaging underserved youth of color. So we bring young adults of color to the table to work on these federal lands. So it's a lot of educating about this different and unique pool of young folks that are ready and eager to work. they're looking for the opportunities, and these land management agencies are looking for people to work these lands. So we find it to be the perfect scenario, but it is a matter of education.
Thanks, Angelou and James, and thank you for watching.
Thank you, Sharella. Thank
Take
you for
care.
having us.
I'm Sharella Cox at the Street.